Inheriting a creepy old mansion wasn't exactly on my life bingo card, but here I was, the new owner of Blackwood Manor. Nestled in the forgotten valley of Hollow Creek, the place looked like something out of a gothic novel, all crumbling turrets, overgrown gardens, and an air of suffocating gloom. The lawyer droned on about property taxes and upkeep, but all I could focus on was the single flickering candle he held, casting an erratic dance of shadows across the dusty entryway. "There's no electricity, Miss Evans," he said, his voice echoing in the cavernous hall. "Been out for years. Locals say it's not safe to fix." The locals. A gaggle of weathered faces had peered at me from behind cracked windows as I pulled into town. Their whispers followed me like a chill wind. "Blackwood," they muttered. "Cursed place, best left alone." "No electricity?" I repeated, bewildered. "But there must be a generator or something." The lawyer shook his head, his lips pursed in a way that screamed, "Don't say I didn't warn you." He handed me a heavy brass key, its surface worn smooth by countless hands. "Just one candle, Miss Evans. Don't let it go out." With that cryptic warning and a shudder that ran down my spine, I was left alone in Blackwood Manor. The place was a maze of dusty rooms, cobwebs hanging like macabre tapestries, and furniture shrouded in white sheets. Every creak of the floorboards, every groan of the ancient house, sent shivers down my spine. But the most unsettling thing was the perpetual twilight outside. No matter the time of day, the sky remained a bruised purple, casting an unnatural gloom over the valley. I fumbled through the house, searching for a window with a view of the normal world, but each window revealed the same oppressive twilight. Exhaustion finally won over my creeping dread. I found a dusty bedroom, the least cobweb-infested one available, and lit another candle I found in a drawer. The flame sputtered to life, casting a fragile circle of light around me. Exhausted, I collapsed onto the creaking bed, the flickering candle my only companion in the oppressive darkness. Dreams, or perhaps nightmares, plagued my sleep. Whispers filled the air, chilling and indistinct. Shadows danced on the periphery of my vision, just out of reach. I woke with a gasp, sweat clinging to my skin. The room was silent, the single candle burning low. Panic clawed at my throat. Remembering the lawyer's words, I fumbled for the matches I brought, my hands shaking. One by one, I struck them, the tiny flames illuminating faces in the darkness, portraits of stern ancestors staring down at me with unnerving intensity. Finally, a match flared, catching the wick of the waiting candle. Relief washed over me, warm and fleeting. The day, if you could call it that, stretched before me with an oppressive weight. I scavenged for food in dusty cupboards, finding only a few cans of something unidentifiable. The silence of the house was broken only by the insistent creaks and groans of the ancient structure. As the day bled into the ever-present twilight, a new fear gnawed at me. The candle. It was burning low, the flame flickering erratically. I searched for more candles, scouring the dusty drawers and cabinets, but found nothing. Panic simmered in my gut. Desperate, I ventured into the house's bowels, the basement. It was a dank, suffocating space, the air thick with the smell of mildew and something else, something primal and unsettling. Here, the shadows seemed to solidify, clinging to the corners like living things. Suddenly, a gust of cold air extinguished the tiny flashlight I held. Darkness, absolute and suffocating, descended. I stumbled back, heart hammering against my ribs. A whisper, barely audible, slithered through the blackness. "Don't let it go out." Terror propelled me back upstairs, where the last embers of the candle flickered like a dying star. As the darkness encroached, the whispers grew louder, forming a chilling chorus that echoed through the halls. Shadowy figures materialized in the corners, their forms shifting and undulating in the dying light. One by one, the flames sputtered and died. The whispers became a cacophony, the shadows solidifying into grotesque shapes that lunged towards me. I screamed, a primal sound ripped from the depths of my fear. But then, a memory surfaced from the lawyer's cryptic words. Locals say it's not safe to fix. Electricity. It wasn't safe. Not for them. But maybe, just maybe, for me. In a desperate gamble, I lunged for the wall, my fingers scraping against peeling wallpaper. Somewhere behind the dusty portraits, I remembered seeing an outlet. My heart hammered a frantic rhythm against my ribs as I fumbled for the cold metal rectangle. Frantically, I shoved the plug of my phone charger into the socket. A jolt of energy coursed through the room, the darkness momentarily replaced by a blinding flash. The shadows recoiled, shrieking in a sound that sent shivers down my spine. Then, a glorious thing happened. A soft hum filled the air, followed by the gentle glow of a single incandescent bulb hanging from the ceiling. The light, though weak, pushed the shadows back, shrinking them to their terrifying, but manageable, forms. The whispers subsided to a low murmur, the figures lingering at the edges of my vision. But they didn't dare approach. Not with the light on. Gasping for breath, I collapsed onto the dusty floor, the weight of the encounter pressing down on me. It took several deep breaths to calm my racing heart. Exhaustion threatened to pull me under, but the memory of those whispers and the shifting darkness kept me awake. The light bulb, flickering occasionally, cast its pale glow across the room. In that weak illumination, I noticed something new, a dusty book lying on a side table. Its leather cover was cracked and worn, but the title embossed in faded gold was clear: The Chronicles of Hollow Creek. The book felt oddly warm in my hands as I opened it. The pages were filled with faded script and cryptic drawings. As I squinted in the dim light, a horrifying story began to unfold. The book spoke of an ancient pact made by the villagers of Hollow Creek with a shadowy entity, a pact for perpetual twilight in exchange for protection from something far worse. The whispers, the book revealed, were not of the entity itself, but of the trapped souls of past sacrifices, forever pleading for release. As I read about the ritualistic sacrifices and the binding darkness, a new understanding dawned on me. The flickering candle wasn't just a light source. It was a key, a line drawn against the encroaching entity. Letting it go out would have meant releasing the darkness, unleashing the true horror upon the valley. But the book offered no easy solutions. It hinted at a way to break the pact, a ritual involving specific herbs and a full moon offering. But none of the ingredients were readily available, and the next full moon was weeks away. I was trapped in Blackwood Manor, a fragile bastion of light against the encroaching darkness. The days that followed were a blur of exploration and apprehension. Using the phone's flashlight, charging turned out to be a gamble, the electricity flickering randomly. I scavenged the manor for supplies. I found some dusty herbs in a forgotten cupboard, their properties barely recognizable from faded labels. The basement yielded a rusty shovel and a tattered map, leading to a hidden clearing supposedly holding rare plants. The nights were the worst. Every creak of the floorboards, every flicker in the light bulb sent a jolt of fear through me. The whispers still came, fainter in the presence of light, but ever present. I spent most nights curled up on the bed, the glow of the single bulb my only comfort. Driven by a desperate hope and a gnawing fear, I ventured out during the day, guided by the cryptic map. The walk to the clearing was fraught with tension. The unnatural twilight seemed to press down on me, and the whispers reached a fever pitch as I stepped foot in the hidden grove. There, nestled amidst ancient trees, I found them. The herbs mentioned in the book, their leaves shimmering with an otherworldly luminescence. Hope surged through me as I carefully dug them up, their earthy scent a grounding force. Back in the manor, under the pale glow of the flickering bulb, I laid out the ingredients and followed the ritual instructions gleaned from the book. The herbs, when combined, released a strange smoke that swirled in the air, carrying with it the whispers of the trapped souls. As the full moon rose, casting an ethereal glow through the dusty windows, I completed the ritual with a shaky hand. A moment of tense silence followed, broken only by the creaking of the old house. Then, a sound like 1,000 sighs, growing in intensity before disappearing altogether. The whispers were gone. Exhausted and shaken, I collapsed onto the bed. Sleep, though uneasy, finally claimed me. When I woke, the sun peeked through the dust-laden windows for the first time since my arrival. The oppressive twilight was gone, replaced by a bright, clear sky. The change was almost too good to be true. I ventured outside, the sunlight warm on my skin. The whispers were truly gone, replaced by the chirping of birds and the gentle rustling of leaves. But a sense of unease lingered,